IncentiFind. This is our commercial demonstration. If you're wondering who is talking, Natalie Goodman here, founder. My background's architecture. I miss it almost every day, but I look at the impact that IncentiFind has on so many projects nationwide, and I'm incredibly impressed with the work that my team and I do to really quickly capture cost-saving incentives, and you're going to see a few examples of those here in a bit. But to capture those cost-saving incentives in a manner that is easy for any owner or anyone serving them to understand. You can digest it pretty quickly. You can understand why you're eligible for it. How much is it worth? How long does it take to get that incentive? How do you apply it to your project? When will you get that check? Is it a cash reimbursement? Is it a tax credit? Is it a fee waiver? Is it a bill credit? So we not only house the nation's only database for real estate incentives, we make it incredibly easy to understand, navigate, and our goal is to bring additional capital to every upgrade and new construction project. You can see Grace Bennett. She is our incentive expert for our commercial sector. She's got an entire army under her that puts together what we call verify reports, and we'll talk about that here in a second. When you input a 2-minute survey, her team will put together a report that's going to tell you everything that a project is eligible to take advantage of. And she's the one that puts together all of that strategy, gives you the soft estimate, and then she has an entire application fulfillment team that can help you capture if that's something you can't do in-house. So let's talk about what we went over last month. I thought it was a really exciting kind of joint demo. We're going to have another one in October, November, and December, where we talk about IncentiFind's critical partnerships. So let me first talk about the project that's on the screen. So here's kind of the play-by-play for August. The way we pick our projects for these types of demos is we ask you guys, and I love that folks are not shy about, what they want to see next month on the demo. So we got a request for a multi-building development. We have a lot of developers that are doing multiple assets in big mixed use or master plan type communities. Maybe it's a mix of a historic, restoration or historic reuse, plus a mixture of new assets. And so this one was a really fun project. All we can disclose is that it's in Texas. As you know, if you're familiar with our demos at all, we do anonymize all of it. We are so grateful to the owners that even allow us to feature these projects. And so we want to make sure that we do provide that level of confidentiality to them, talk about their projects, but we don't answer anything specific. And further, sometimes we need to be careful on disclosing the exact location. So we can tell you this is a multi-building development somewhere in Texas. It is a fun project. It is a mix of a slight historic reuse of two fantastic historic buildings, and then the rest of the multi-building development, ground up construction, all new construction, right? So lots of varieties of assets on this particular site. IncentiFind can address this even with our 2-minute survey, and I'll show you how we did this here in a second. So you can see here, we have a 3-step process. We're going to dive into the details of that in just a few minutes, but step 1 is we need the owner, the developer, the operator, or someone representing them, like a project manager, an architect, an engineer, a general contractor, owner's representative. It doesn't matter. Someone who knows something about the project to fill out a 2-minute survey about that project. And you can get to that 2-minute survey at IncentiFind.com. You do have to sign up. There's a reason for that. We don't want your surveys floating out there on the internet. So we require you to sign up and fill out a survey. It's then only put on your profile, and that's kind of how we protect it, right? So you can have a look at that 2-minute survey. If you go to IncentiFind.com in the background right now as I talk, go ahead and sign up. create a password and click I have a project, and you'll see the 2-minute survey that this particular developer filled out, right? Even though he had a multi-building development, it's a clever survey. It knows how to ask appropriate questions. And as we receive those answers, additional questions may pop up just to help us navigate, but it shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. As soon as you're done with it, you hit submit, and off it goes into our second step, verify. That's where Grace and her team lives, right? Verify stands for we're going to verify what the project's eligible for, right? So the first step, you submit a search survey because you're searching our database. Second step, we're going to verify your eligibility. Last step, we'll apply to anything that you want us to go after. So lots of Captain Obvious nomenclature, but we really like it here and it seems to work. So after the developer filled out the 2-minute survey, the results went into our verified team's inbox, and they began putting together all of the incentives that made sense for the various types of assets, right? So you can see that this project happened to be in a healthy incentive landscape. 161 incentives are available in this area. It doesn't mean they're eligible for all of them. Doesn't mean all of them make sense. So our expert team took what the database found, put together a report of about 26 incentives, and then we had a 1-hour call with the developer. This is very common and considered best practices at IncentiFind. Whenever we do produce your Verify report, we're gonna send you an email that says, hey, book a 1-hour call with our team. Trust me, you're gonna wanna go through that 1-hour call. Because we're gonna walk through the good, the bad, the ugly on those 26 incentives that you're eligible for, right? We're going to help you consider what are the low-hanging fruit, what makes sense, what has the highest success rate, how do you want to go after it? We'll put together a strategy for all of it. And you can see in this case, while the development was eligible for 26 incentives, they seriously considered and are going after 10 incentives. Let's jump over to the third step, apply, okay? Notice the bold, you see owner, 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 and then tenants. There are tenant-focused incentives. If you deal with ground-up developments and perhaps you build a core and shell, and you're thinking, well, I'm doing core and shell, there's probably nothing for me. No, you're wrong. There are core and shell incentives. There are also incentives if you're trying to attract an anchor tenant, maybe just a regular tenant in a retail space. So for this owner, in having that 1-hour call, we were able to talk with him and say, how about we tell you everything you're eligible for as an owner for your various types of assets, and then we're going to throw in some tenant-focused incentives. And when your tenants are ready to talk to us, we'll walk them through how to capture those. So again, really fun project. We're able to kind of take care of a lot of things with one fell swoop, right? So you can see the owner is going to go after, and we should be able to capture this. Construction should complete second quarter of next year. So $375,000 in cash reimbursements for all energy efficiency measures on their commercial real estate assets. They will get another $200,000 in cash reimbursements for energy efficiency related to their multifamily development. There was also just, $15,000 in cash reimbursements for generators. We further connected them to, you can see some pretty lucrative tax credits. We do not do those in-house. We do not estimate those in-house. We happened to ask the developer, just give us an idea of what that number is at. He mentioned it's well over $1 million. So that's about all we can disclose from the tax end, but you can rely on us to do all rebate incentives in-house, take care of that for you. When it comes to tax incentives, we'll reveal them to you. We do partner with several firms around the country to white glove service those tax incentives for you. We just can't stay in those conversations. We are not a tax firm or a financial advisory firm. You can see we also connected this owner to the PACE network. They will be leveraging PACE. If you don't know about PACE, don't worry. We have a subject matter expert that will be on our December's webinar, and he's going to talk about PACE all across the country and the various projects that have leveraged PACE and IncentiFind. And then you can see the tenant incentives. We will be helping an anchor tenant go after $10,000 for a load management program, plus another $90,000 for energy efficiency. This is just one anchor tenant. The others haven't finalized their lease negotiations, so there could still be more money on the table. All right, last month we featured IV Energy. If you don't know anything about Title 24, please go to our website. I've also put it in the chat. Click affiliates, go to our playlist, and look at our last webinar about addressing mandatory solar in certain states, especially California. IV Energy is a strategic partner for this. They essentially help to quickly help our landlords, especially in multifamily. They do office and other assets, but in our multifamily for our landlords, since solar is now mandatory in California because of Title 24. By the way, it's also mandatory in other states. IV Energy has fantastic software and a super easy process to follow to help landlords address Title 24, put solar on their property, but also have it to where it's a win-win scenario in paying for the solar and reaping the benefits of the solar on the property to the tenants. So anyways, go look at that last demo. You're going to hear about IV Energy, the software they have, how easy it is for landlords to connect to that, all the different asset types that are great for their software. And I think you'll see why they're a strategic partner of ours. So we grabbed one successful case study. It's a multifamily. It is in the California area. We're unable to disclose exactly where. It's just a 50-unit multifamily. We chose something kind of run-of-the-mill because, as you can imagine, the more units that are in that multifamily, right, you're going to see more on the estimate of incentives. So you can see here, look, they're in the California area. California, like so many other states, ample incentive offering. So remember, everything starts with a 2-minute search. This this developer input this development of a multifamily 50 units into our database. Took him 2 minutes to fill out the survey. Remember, now he hops over to step 2, verify, where we verify everything he's eligible for. Grace and our team put together a report for showing that there are 22 incentives that they could go after. But again, after kind of weighing the good, the bad, the ugly, what really makes sense, this developer decided, look, 2 of those incentives really make sense for my project, and I'd like IncentiFind to help me capture them. So you can see, if you jump over to apply, what those 2 incentives are. There's energy efficiency and water conservation. They total $90,000 for cash reimbursements on a 50-unit multifamily. That scales pretty quickly as you increase the number of units, right? And then you can see with IV Energy, they get $25,000 in bill credits month over month. So nice way to get solar paid for, right? So let me kind of just step back here. For those of you that are new to this, you're probably wondering who is IncentiFind. Someone forwarded me this demo, and I just need you to kind of take a step back and tell me about IncentiFind. It's going to be pretty easy to understand who we are in a second. First, we are the nation's only database for real estate incentives. If you have a new construction project, existing building upgrade, complete gutting, rehab, small retrofit, doesn't matter. You're going to see all the various asset types. You should fill out a 2-minute survey either on behalf of your owner, or if you're a developer, owner, operator, fill out a 2-minute survey on our website. You'd be amazed at the incentives that are available specifically for these types of real estate projects in all 50 states. Our job is to bring cost savings, as you can see, to any type of new construction or existing building upgrade. Despite being 4 years old, we're growing incredibly fast in all 50 states with various types of firms, architecture, engineering, construction, consulting, you name it, as well as with major corporations that own real estate or manage real estate portfolios. So we are virtual. We operate virtually. We're based and headquartered in Houston, Texas. Go look at our website. You can see our team sits all over the country. And we manage everything from a virtual situation, right? And that was pre-COVID. So it's been pretty much business as usual with COVID. We've got a pretty fast growing team, and let me talk to you about the incentives that are in our database. So you can see here, this was last year's estimate. Our database, we get asked this all the time, how much does your database represent from a dollar amount? In other words, how much is there, how much money is there for property owners to take advantage of every single year? So last year we tallied it, it's about $10 billion available for property owners. And we want to be that clearinghouse for it, right? Using a 2-minute survey. So you can see we collect incentives from federal, state, county, city, utility level governments. For utility, that includes gas, electric, and water. All of these governments in all 50 states must give away incentives to progress or encourage energy conservation, water conservation, and perhaps renewables such as solar on real estate assets. So we're there to, again, flush as many of these incentives to our property owners as possible. So you keep hearing me say 2-minute survey, right? If you want to know what IncentiFind is in a nutshell, only database to connect properties to 10 billion in incentives each year using a 2-minute survey on our website. That's us in a nutshell. If you want to know what the 12,000 incentives are made up of, and keep in mind this is last year's estimate, we do need to run a new one for 2020. You can see first that our database is bifurcated. You have new construction and existing buildings, right? It's very rare that you find an incentive applicable to both types of construction. So if you've got a ground up development, those are going to fall on the new construction side, right? Same thing if you have an existing building. If you have a multi-building development with a mix of both, we will have you enter 2 separate surveys, and so we can access both sides of our database, right? The key word here is above code. Everyone always asks us, how do I know if I'm eligible for incentives in your database? You just need to be going above code, which most property owners are. Manufacturers that put products for energy efficiency, or I should just say anything energy related, anything water related, most products on the market, windows, insulation, roofs, lighting, HVAC, thermostats, controls, toilets, showers, you name it. A lot of them are above code because manufacturers want these products to stay on the shelves as long as possible. So they will go find the strictest building code in the United States, create their product well above that so it stays on the shelves. And when those products are spec'd on a project and then installed, the owner is now eligible for the incentives because they've gone above code. A lot of owners are going above code, eligible for these incentives, and don't even realize it. They think they have to get LEED certified or achieve some level of certification to qualify, and that's just not the case. So the breakdown is we house energy efficiency. No, we are not just a lighting rebate database. We get asked that all the time. I'm going to try and rattle off as many energy efficiency incentives that come to mind and know that there's probably more out there. So we have, of course, we have lighting, but we also have HVAC, chillers, retro commissioning. We have insulation, cool roofs, windows, basic building envelope. Oh my gosh, there's so many out there. Don't rely on me. You actually can see the breakdown of all the energy efficiency types, measures, and equipment on our 2-minute survey. After we look at energy efficiency, our database can also look at renewables if that's applicable to your project. Yes, that's mostly solar, but we do house geothermal and other things like that. For water conservation, that's indoor and outdoor. Energy efficiency is indoor and outdoor. I think the biggest value differentiator besides having this very expansive database is that we address projects how they actually are designed and constructed, and that's holistically. So our database is going to look at the 2-minute survey that you fill out, and it's going to begin addressing it from a holistic standpoint. All energy systems, all water systems, both indoor and outdoor, building envelope. Then look at the other category. We're going to address the land that the asset sits on. So this could be things like, if you're on the new construction side, a brownfield development, EV charge stations, certifications such as LEED, Green Globes, Energy Star Portfolio Manager, opportunity zones, new market tax credits, PACE eligible areas. That's that innovative financing that's really sweeping across the country, right? Resilience, such as flood mitigation, hurricane proofing, fireproofing. Yes, that's all categories that are emerging. And smart building technology, right? So on the existing front, you can see a variety of a few other things that are there. For the most part, you can rely on our incentives to be the following categories. Mostly tax and rebates. I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot of our incentive types. And if you aren't familiar with rebates, just exchange rebate for cash reimbursement. So we have tax grants. Grants are pretty far and few between, but we do house those. Fee waivers, really big with developments, especially, you know, if you're addressing low density type developments, you know, in downtown districts, lots of low income housing, so many different ways in which you can grab some fee waivers. And then bill credits, very commonly seen in solar programs, load management programs, demand response programs, and things of that nature. So we have them all nice and neat in our database, searchable through our 2-minute survey. So you keep hearing me talk about this 2-minute survey, this verify report, and these apply services. How do I put this all together in a digestible process for everyone to understand? Well, it's right here on the screen. We are a 3-step process. It is simple, intuitive. Doing your first project, we are going to handhold you through it, just because we are so new to the market. Our products are new to the market. It's good to have someone there from IncentiFind just to kind of walk you through this the first time. We usually see people off to the races by their second and definitely by their third project. So everything starts with a 2-minute survey. Please do not email us. Please do not call us and say, hey, I've got a project in Miami. I've got a project in New York. I've got a project in Seattle. And it is and describe it and say, are there incentives for that? Go put in a 2-minute survey. It takes 2 minutes. That is the only way we can actually begin to sort and identify incentives in our database. So notice that we do not sell any of those surveys to third parties. We don't need to monetize. We've got a great business model that allows us to keep those surveys private to your profile. So please put all of your exciting projects and prospects, things you're chasing or things on the horizon, put in a 2-minute survey. Yes, it does need to be done per building. I'll talk about the one and only exception that doesn't require a survey. So after you do the 2-minute survey, our system will automatically matchmake you to incentives, but it takes about 10 business days for our team to put together a custom report for every incentive we think you should be looking at, right? This includes trends. We eliminate low success rate incentives. We really emphasize high success rate incentives. We remove incentives who have a application period just about to close. So we have a team that will refine this list. It takes about 10 business days, but it's still not that long. You'll receive an email that says your Verify report is done. Remember, our Verify reports do exactly what's in their name. They verify everything the project is eligible to take advantage of. It has a $500 fee per building, right? It says or complex. Why does it say complex? For multi-family, we understand that multifamilies have several buildings on their complexes. When you do your 2-minute survey, this is the one and only exception where you can do one 2-minute survey and it can cover multiple buildings within an apartment complex, right? Also, you are not charged per building in your apartment complex. You're charged one $500 fee, right? If you have a multi-building development ground up, our survey will walk you through that. It'll show you the fee associated with that, always on the right-hand corner. You will never have to guess how much your Verify report costs. It's right there showing on the screen at all times as you complete your survey. And then notice at the bottom, we do discounts for campuses, portfolios. So if you have a corporate campus, higher ed campus, school campus, K-12 campus, or you have a portfolio of assets, which we see a lot of those. You are welcome to fill out a survey. Notice our survey will indicate, it will ask, is this part of a campus? Is this part of a portfolio? Answer the questions accordingly. The pricing will also show right there on the screen. You do not have to guess. Our team will be in touch with you for additional information in order to produce the highest quality Verify report within 10 business days. After your Verify report is done and you book that 1 hour call, right, to go over your results, our team is going to sit there and talk about how much each incentive is worth, when can you expect the check, what do you have to do to apply for this. We will walk you through the whole entire process and make sure that we're managing your expectations all along the way. You can, if you like what you see on the Verify report and you get excited about an incentive for, let's say, I don't know, a chiller, you can click a button right on your report that says, help me apply IncentiFind, and our application fulfillment team will get to work right there on the spot. Notice we operate off a contingency fee. It is a strict contingency fee. We always get asked, well, do we owe you guys 25% in advance? Is this on the total project? Here's how the contingency fee works. Let's say you check the box or click the button that says, help me apply IncentiFind for a chiller rebate, right? Just as an example in square numbers. When you click that button, our team gets to work. Let's say that chiller rebate is worth, I don't know, $100, just again, square numbers. Obviously it will be way more than that, but let's just use it as an example today. When you click the button to help apply, our team will get to work. They need finalized specs and quantities. They'll go grab all the information from either you or your design team, whoever has the information, however you want to delegate it. They'll grab the appropriate information, populate the application or applications associated with the chiller rebate, submit those, let you know. You can track the submission process on a dashboard so you can see if it's under review, when it was submitted, when we're expecting to hear back from the utility company or the local government. You can see it all on a nice dashboard. And since it's worth, remember, $100 in this example, once the utility company or local government pre-approve you for that chiller rebate, we say you have been pre-approved, your funds have been earmarked. Let us know when the chiller has been installed. You let us know when that's been installed. We report that back to the local government or utility company, tell them this chiller has been installed. Here's a photograph of evidence to show that, or some other type of report. And then the $100 is mailed to IncentiFind. We pocket $25, we send you the $75. So we take on all of that work, all the coordination associated with that on a pure contingency fee. What happens if you value engineer that chiller to where it's no longer eligible for the incentive? Do you owe IncentiFind anything? No, you don't. Look, we know things happen. What happens if the project is shelved, like so many have been with COVID? Do you owe IncentiFind anything? The answer is no. This is why our fee is 25%. We are trying to absorb as much of that risk for you so that you don't have to worry about that. And notice we do not do any tax incentives in-house. We're not a financial firm. We are not a tax firm, but don't worry. We work with so many others around the country, large and small. And that way, if you really like a tax incentive, maybe it's an opportunity zone, maybe it's a new market tax credit, maybe it's a great property tax abatement, we can get you connected to someone who knows about that, who can still provide sort of that white glove service feel for you. All righty, moving on. Let's talk about planning and estimating incentives. We get this all the time. I'm gonna submit a 2-minute survey for a project. Am I too late? Am I too early? You don't have to worry about that. This graphic is on our website, and I'm gonna go over it and it's gonna make sense. It's a very easy rule of thumb to follow. If the building is existing, you need to get that 2-minute survey into our database no later than 60 days before you turn a wrench, a light bulb, you demo anything, before you even think about touching anything. We need at least 60 days, and we're about to change this to 90 days just because of our volume. so that we can get your application in, we can get an inspector in or document the existing conditions. There's a lot that has to happen to prove the existing conditions. So if you have an existing building, you need to prove the existing conditions. The sooner the better. If you are waiting 60 days, 90 days before you start demo, installation, turning a wrench, you're technically bottom of the ninth. There's a chance you could forfeit your eligibility overall. So the sooner the better with existing buildings, okay? Look at your ideal window. For new construction, you've got a wider ideal window. You can technically, for most utility companies across the nation, there are some that cut this off after 6 months past CO or certificate of occupancy, but we've seen a fair majority that will take projects 12 months past CO. And realize that it does require a blessing for that, so we don't like to disappoint. So for new construction, look, get in there before construction starts. Honestly, that's the best scenario for you. But if you recently just completed a project, just opened the doors on another one, it's okay. Submit it. We'll see if you're in it with a utility company or in a territory that will allow the exception of what we call a retroactive incentive application to be submitted. So that's planning and estimating incentives. Remember, you don't have to memorize any of this. It's all at IncentiFind.com. You can see this planning and estimating graphic there for you. What does the soft and the hard estimate mean at the top? Soft estimate means you do not have finalized specs and quantities because you're still in the design phase. Just know that all we're going to provide to you is historic numbers when it comes to rebates and incentives that have been achieved on that project. So we'll tell you, okay, for your commercial office asset located in Houston, downtown Houston, Texas, doing a lighting upgrade for the past 18 months of projects of similar size, they have received, and again, square numbers, $100 or whatever it is. We're going to give you that soft estimate. It is a historic number using your survey and looking at similar projects that have been completed within an 18-month span. What happens if you do have finalized specs and quantities of equipment that you're going to either put into your new construction project or existing building upgrade? Send them to IncentiFind. You must be leveraging our apply services, but we can do a hard estimate for you. It means we're going to grab those specs, those quantities for the lighting, for the HVAC, for the thermostats, window replace, whatever it is. And we're going to use the utility software or the utility spreadsheets. We're going to give you that calculation, say, based on what you've provided and what the utility companies provided, here is what we believe is a hard estimate for cash reimbursements or a bill credit, or a grant program. It's typically rebates, but however we see that dollar, we don't estimate tax incentives. Remember, we're not allowed to, but rebates we will. So I can't emphasize enough. The biggest takeaway is finalized specs and quantities. We do not work with proposals because utility companies don't. They only work with finalized specifications and quantities. So you get a soft estimate if you don't have them, you get a hard estimate if you do. Finally, let's look at September's projects and let's put all of this into practice, okay? So remember, we have to anonymize a lot of these projects. So if you do have questions about these projects, there's a chance I may not answer it or I will answer it in a generic manner. And I hope that if we ever use one of your projects that you can rest assured that we will treat you with the same level of confidentiality, okay, and discretion. So we have a hotel that was in Maryland. One of the larger cities in Maryland. You can see it's an upgrade. It's 250,000 square feet. Now, we worked with the operator on this. What we've been seeing across the country, remember we're in all 50 states, is that hotels with COVID bringing occupancy, down to almost a screeching halt. A lot of hotels, especially existing, are coming to IncentiFind, sometimes with their entire portfolio, sometimes one at a time, and saying, help me save money on my ongoing monthly operating expenditures, especially my electric and water bills. So now's the time that they want to do a lot of these upgrades, and it makes sense. And there's plenty of cost saving incentives to help them do that, right? So this owner and operator was in that scenario. So she came into our database. She filled out a 2-minute survey. That's all it took to get started with us, remember? So we showed her, look, 52, you're in a healthy incentive landscape. There's 52 incentives available just for hotels, right? So we said, but you need to buy a report to make sure you know which ones you're truly eligible for, okay? And so after she bought our $500 report, in 10 business days, we posted it to her profile at IncentiFind.com, and she booked a 1-hour call to go over this with Grace and her team. They talked through 21 incentives that this property was eligible to take advantage of. And after that 1-hour call, they realized 8 incentives really made sense for a pretty decent capital improvement project, right? So let's look at those 8 incentives. You can see here, they were largely HVAC, VFD, LED, food service, refrigeration, and the custom is anything that isn't captured in a specific program, right? So I'm not gonna lie, in hotel, these are the most common to go after. They make sense, right? So you can see all of these totaled for, again, a pretty decent capital improvement project, $105,000 in cash reimbursements. This owner will get these funds, I think in December of this year, if I remember her construction schedule off the top of my head. So came in not too long ago, and yeah, so she'll walk out with that cash back in her pocket, plus the ongoing savings, right? She is looking at solar. I don't think this portion will be going forward. I cannot remember right now, but I do know that this portion up here is without a doubt going forward. So again, this is just an estimate. And what the beauty of IncentiFind is that when you do enter your survey, you can check all the boxes for the ways in which you want to upgrade your property. So maybe you're considering solar, but you don't actually know if you're going to go after it, right? We can always help you at least identify what those cost saving incentives could look like. Maybe it helps that particular upgrade pencil, maybe it doesn't, but at least it's a knowledgeable decision, informed decision that you can make using the data from a $500 report, right? Okay, now this is an upgrade, right, to an existing hotel. We've seen, just to give you an idea, nationwide, oh gosh, within the past 2 months, I wanna say 36 existing hotels that are upgrading in this manner. So I imagine we'll see about double that before the end of the year. So just pretty common if you know someone with existing hotels, either portfolio or a single asset, now's a really good time for them to check out these cost saving incentives, especially while occupancy is low, right? So here's a hotel. All we can tell you is that it's in Missouri. It is a ground up hotel, 3,000 square feet. And so this particular developer, right, they're going to develop this hotel, sell it to one of their key operating companies. So it's really common that we work with both operators, but we also work with developers that will sell assets, right? So this developer came in, he filled out a 2-minute survey. That's all it takes to get started with us, right? 10 business days later, Grace and her team put together a Verify report. He purchased it for $500. And they said, look, you're eligible for 26 incentives, but let's get on a 1-hour call and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, okay? In doing so, because this developer was selling the asset so quickly, it really only made sense for him to go after certain incentives, right? So if you have a quick disposition, just know that some incentive programs won't make sense for you, but you can rely on us to help you navigate that, okay? So let's have a look at the 4 incentives. You can see we leveraged a custom program that would help them with basic things: HVAC chiller, LED lighting controls, building envelope, and appliances. There's also some tax incentives we were able to help coordinate, and just kind of how this particular operator was considering solar, he's considering EV charge stations. We have been seeing this as a trend in hospitality nationwide, especially in California, Seattle areas, Dallas area as well, and Florida. So, I don't believe he's going to move forward with this off the top of my head, but if he does, at least he knows he can rely on this particular incentive to help cover those costs. The $180,000 will come back to him as cash reimbursements. One thing I want to kind of just park and mention is either of these projects, as the equipment is being completed, the coolest thing about, I think, IncentiFind's Apply fulfillment team is that we're not going to wait until the last item is done to send you your rebate check. We know you want your cash in hand. So as your HVAC is done and the balancing is done or the testing is done on that, and you can prove that it has been installed or upgraded, we will look at your construction schedule, stagger it so that we submit that application and get that check in your pocket the second that's done. Same with the VFDs, the LEDs, anything food service. So as each different measure is accomplished, we are trying to get you that rebate check on the spot. So we work with your construction schedule. So you might see LED lighting in month 6. You might see the HVAC in month 8, the chiller in month 12, the controls in month 13, the envelope in month 14, and the appliances in month 15, right? So it just depends, but we will always work with your construction schedule and get you the cash as soon as possible. So I know that our developers really appreciate that. So those are our September projects. And I think the most interesting part of this is that a lot of folks guessed that the existing hotel, we tried to grab as close as we could in square footage and showed 2 different states, but with very similar incentive programs, right? And we try to grab as close as possible of similar scopes. So we know it's not truly apples to apples, but it's as close as we could get with all the projects that we have going on. A lot of people guess that the upgrade would walk away with the most money because existing buildings typically that are upgrading, especially over 30 years old like this one is, will walk away with some substantial dollars. But notice, it didn't. It was the new construction project that did. So I know that shocked whenever we sent this case study off to the folks that requested it. That really shocked them, and all the more reason why checking with IncentiFind, there's so many variables across the nation. You change a zip code, you change your scope of work, you change the square footage, anything can happen. And we always like to surprise folks in a good way as far as what they can reap and the benefits that they have. So let me talk about some next steps. Let me do a time check. Oh, yep. As always, we are right at time. So folks, if you haven't heard me say it enough, I think I've beaten a dead horse, right? Go sign up. There's the website right there. Go key it in, IncentiFind.com. Please use your work email. We've had folks that start with a personal email and then it never fails. They want to go now change everything to their work email, and you will lose all your data. We don't migrate that. So please use your work email. Don't use a personal email unless that's the email you use for your professional work, right? So go to IncentiFind.com, click I have a project, fill out a search survey. Do not use a made up project. It will mean nothing to you. We've had folks that go in there, make up a project, we come back with some great results, and guess what? They have no good questions for it because it doesn't mean anything. It's not real. So use a real project. Go grab a project that's on the horizon. Maybe you're thinking to bid on. Maybe it's already under your belt. Maybe it's a capital improvement plan for the next fiscal year. Input something that you really want to see some results on. You can do it anywhere in the 50 states. We don't operate in US territories. So fill out that 2-minute survey. You can also book a call with me. Maybe you need to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable with IncentiFind, and we understand that. Maybe you have some other items you want to get in place, such as a confidentiality agreement or an NDA. That's fine. you can book me right there on that link. You can also send me an email. There's my email at the bottom. If you want to lunch and learn, you like this, but you're thinking, I really need to get leadership on board, go to our affiliate page. I'm going to show you it right now. So you go to IncentiFind.com. Oops. There we go. And go to affiliate page. Okay. Scroll to the bottom. You can't miss it. Contact us for more information right there. Fill out your name, your company title, select lunch and learn. Let me talk to your leadership. We can even use examples that are maybe more pertinent. Maybe you're a data center focus group. Maybe you're a hospitality focus group. What a K-12, public versus private, doesn't matter. Let us know. We can do kind of a one-on-one and make sure you feel comfortable. Last thing I will leave on is attendees will receive a recording of this. Registrants will receive a recording. I'm so sorry to those who, with the Zoom technicalities, who were unable to get in today, but you will be receiving a recording of this. Further, on the same website that I just went to, right? I went to IncentiFind.com. Let me back up here. Clicked affiliates. You scroll to the bottom and whoops, and there's our playlist. This demo is going to be there later on this week. So you can go there. You don't have to save the link, even though you're going to get it from Zoom. You can go right there, watch our demo. You can share it, live stream it. Remember, we haven't put any sensitive information on this, so this is fine however you want to use it. And I certainly thank you for those who were able to attend and really appreciate your patience in the beginning as I try to navigate this. For next month, I'm going to do what I always do and close out. Please let us know what you want to see. We have so many projects across the country. It is always more fun if we leave it up to you guys to tell us what you want to look at. For the month of October, I will be telling you this. We are really excited to talk about how we will be doing a joint demo with AutoCase. We get tons of questions on how to report environmental sustainability goals, triple bottom line, cost benefit analysis. And not to worry, AutoCase is a strategic partner for that. And I can't wait for you guys to see the software that they have to help you with this, since it is a growing, almost mandatory, reporting requirement for a lot of, small, medium, and large development companies, corporations, even design firms. So yeah, really excited about that. Well, folks, as always, you can meet us here next month. We will be here first Wednesday of the month, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can also register for our next webinar on that same website. Click there, go ahead and get registered. Fingers crossed we have no issues with Zoom. We will see you next month. Thanks. Bye-bye.